Well, hello everybody. This is a little different, but I guess it's good. This is just a way for us to get some, hopefully a little bit of coaching to you guys. I wanted to start off by saying that last night at our high school group, I got a chance to talk to all the students about romantic relationships, and it actually went really well. So hopefully that's encouraging to you, because it was encouraging to me that this is possible. It's possible to have conversations about this kind of thing. Now with that, I am going to try to explain to you guys a little bit about what I think a healthy relationship looks like, and how you can guide your students, your kids to that. Now I find it helpful to start off with what's the problem. Seems to make sense to me. If we understand the problem, maybe we can figure out a solution. So I've seen lots of relationships come through the doors. It seems like a lot of the kids are dating somebody different every week. It's a little hard to keep up, but with that, I thought long and hard about it, and I think I've come up with maybe two things that I think commonly go wrong in relationship. Now the two things are ignorance and apathy. Let me try to explain here. Ignorance is, it's like this. If we explain really, really well to students what relationships are and how beautiful they are and how God designed them and all this really awesome stuff, if we explain all of that to them, which we should, then we have effectively just told them, okay, there's the Mona Lisa. It's beautiful. It's an amazing painting. It's iconic. And then we say, here's a paintbrush. Now go recreate that. The problem is that they don't know where to start. They might start in the corner and they'll go nice and slow, and then they realize how much time it's going to take, how much care it's going to take, how much patience it's going to take, how much finesse it's going to take, and they get really frustrated. And all of a sudden, that Mona Lisa that maybe starts out nice, maybe it does, it may have really good intentions at the beginning of a relationship. Starts out nice, and they get frustrated, and that Mona Lisa turns into a stick figure. Right? They get impatient. And that's where the apathy kicks in, right? Because they start seeing that they're making mistakes, and then they go, okay, well, what's another mistake? I mean, what's that really going to matter? And they make more mistakes. And then there's this idea of shame and guilt and confusion, and then that's apathy full blown. And I think that's the big problem. That's why we see relationships crumble and just make stupid mistakes, is because they just don't know what they're doing. And that's where I think you guys come in, and that's where we come in. And they know deep down that they do need help with this kind of stuff, that relationships are important and that they're complicated. They know that. The trick is, how do we get in there to help? So I think that's the problem, is ignorance and apathy. I think we are the solution, and here's why. I want you to imagine with me that a student is holding a bunch of balloons, okay? I happen to believe that there are 4 parts of a relationship. That's physical, social, emotional, and spiritual. And you can kind of figure those out, define them for yourself. So that's what I happen to believe. I also believe that in those 4, there's a ton of different facets, and relationships get really complicated from there. And so if you imagine the student holding these balloons and all these different parts of a relationship, unfortunately, sometimes a student, one of your children, are in a relationship and they're kind of the only one that cares about standards. They're the only one trying to keep the relationship healthy. And that is like your child trying to keep 8, 10, 12 balloons up in the air all by themselves. What's going to happen? One's going to fall, and they're going to, darn it. And then another one's going to fall, and another one's going to fall. And this is kind of that idea of apathy again. The ignorance and the apathy cause things to fall. And maybe this describes your child a little too close to home here, but that's how you end up with a relationship that is only physical. and all their other balloons have dropped off, and that's like the only one that they have left, and so they're like, that's all it is physical. That's all it is. They don't know how to hang out with friends, they don't know how to hang out with family, they don't know how to like carry on a conversation with each other. It's just physical. So that sometimes is what happens. Now, picture this. The person that they are dating, they also care about their standards and about keeping boundaries and keeping the relationship healthy. That's a good situation. Now you have two people balancing all of those balloons. So it's better. It's better. We still know they are going to drop some balloons. So it's better, but not the best. So then you can see where this is going maybe. Imagine a mentor or a youth leader or a parent being a third person in that relationship. Even better, a fourth would be awesome. A mentor, leader, parent for the guy, mentor, parent, leader for the girl. All of a sudden you have four people helping balance all of these different parts of a relationship. Because the big problem is that when physical stuff gets messed up, it affects all of the other things. And we know that. Same thing with emotional. When that gets out of whack, it affects the other things. And so they really do need this help balancing. Now, I happen to believe that guys need to have two qualities to have a successful relationship. And this is where you come into play. You are hoping to win a little bit of respect with your child. Get in there, show curiosity in other parts of their life, show that you really do care about them. And I know you do care about them, but they need to feel that. And you get to a point where you can push them in the direction of these two traits that I believe will set up a young man to be really successful in relationships. So here's what they are. The first is teachability. If we can explain to our young men that they need to be teachable, we have covered a ton of ground. The second is integrity. So let me explain teachability. Last night at our high school group, I brought up a phrase, and it comes from Song of Solomon, and it says, "Do not awaken love before its time." And to put it into plain English for them, I said, the right thing at the wrong time is the wrong thing. And I saw these light bulbs go off in some of the young men's heads. They said, that makes sense. The stuff that I want to do is good, but at the wrong time, that's why it's not good. That's why it's damaging. And so you see this and you go, oh my gosh, when they are teachable, they make some progress. And so that's what I encourage is explain to your young men it's okay to not know everything. And it's good to learn things and to be teachable. So if we can direct our young men to be teachable, then we're doing a good job. The second is integrity. I do believe that integrity is a little hard to get your hands around, but I think integrity it's actually doing what you believe, right? It's not compromising. It's when we have explained to our sons that this is right and this is wrong, do they have a sense of that's important? Because what happens is that compromise hits and it's just okay, well, I believed that, but it wasn't important enough. And so integrity is that idea of be a man that holds to what he believes. Because then as you pepper in and as we pepper in these truths and these good things to follow, they'll plug in integrity is actually holding to those things. So the foundation of a good relationship, I believe, is a young man who is teachable, who can accept the help of balancing those balloons, and a young man who has integrity, who knows what he believes and the importance of what he believes. Now, young women, on the other hand, this is a little trickier because I've never been a young woman, but this is what I've seen. I believe that young women need to know their value. I think they also need to know that they have a voice. This is something that it's hard to watch. What I see happen is young women in relationships, they are hurt in some way. And when something goes wrong, whether it's physical or emotional, social or spiritual, any of those things, if one of them goes wrong, they start to tell themselves, I must not be valuable. Like that must have gone wrong because I did something wrong or I'm not valuable. And we need to flip the script on that. We need to be telling our young women, no, you are valuable. You absolutely are valuable. That's a foundational truth. That's not changing. Because then, when something's going wrong in a relationship, they can start to say, no, this isn't because I'm not valuable. This is because something's wrong. So a guy does something, God forbid, guy does something physically with a girl that's not right, that doesn't hold to a standard or belief. And the young woman says, oh, that must mean I'm not valuable. Like that must have happened because I'm not worth it. I'm not worth having self-control for. And she needs to instead say, no, I am valuable. That's wrong. And that's where the voice comes in. We need to teach our young women that they have a voice about their value. I know that guys, for some reason, are the kind of default leaders in relationships, but I don't think at all that means women don't have a voice. So those are four of the things that we're trying to teach students these days. Is young men, be teachable and have integrity. Young women, know your value and have a voice. I think that if we can set up our young men and young women with those things, I think that we are aiming them in the right direction of a really good, healthy relationship. We can sprinkle in all of the small little things about what are good boundaries and that kind of, we can sprinkle that stuff in as we go. But I think those things are really foundational. And I just want to reiterate one more time, you can be somebody who helps them balance those balloons, because it's complicated. It gets a little tricky and they will drop things, and we need to say ignorance is okay. Just don't fall into apathy and make more mistakes. Now with that, that's kind of the end of sort of what I feel like is where we can point kids to be healthy in relationship. I want to give you just a couple resources really quick. Somehow I'm going to put links to these things in the comments or in the description here, but The Heart of Man is a movie. It's not really even a video, it's a movie. It's a full-length movie, really well done, like high-quality Hollywood type quality. It's amazing. And it is a must-watch, I believe, for high schoolers especially. Middle schoolers, I would say parents maybe use a little bit of discretion, maybe watch the video first. It just covers some really heavy stuff. But it's a great video for helping a kid come back from mistakes. It's a video that talks a little bit through sort of the story of the prodigal son and in relation to sexuality, really. So I believe it is a must-watch for high school students, and then eventually a must-watch for middle schoolers. So I encourage you to watch that. It's like $3 on Amazon, and you can watch that there. So the other two things are an article from Desiring God. That's from a pastor in New York. His name is John Piper. It's a really great article that just kind of explains a little bit about what boundaries are and why they're important. So I'll link that in there too. And then finally, the Bible Project. I do believe that this is a topic that we need to stay biblical on. It's hard because the Bible doesn't have a lot about dating. It's got a lot about marriage and that kind of thing, but the Bible Project is a group that has made some really cool videos that are easy to watch. And even if it's just education for your sake that you can then pass on to your kids, then great. But I encourage you to give that a look too. I'll link you to the Song of Solomon video, and that can kind of help you explain a little bit about what biblical sexuality looks like. Maybe get you pointed in the right direction of how to show your students that there is a Mona Lisa out there that they can have. So with that, thank you guys for your time. This is kind of fun doing this over video, and That said, it's always really good to see you guys in person. So whenever we do something like this in person, I want to encourage you to be there. Hope to see you guys there. I'm going to pass it off to Caitlin. Her video is really good. So make sure you check that one out. All right, have a good day, guys.